Hello, my name is Erin, and I want to give out a huge welcome to all of my new subscribers that I got as a result of my time-lapse video blowing up. I have no idea how or why that happened, but I'm so thankful to have all of you here watching me. Hopefully you guys are following me for my art content because that's what I'm mostly going to be doing on this channel. So let's get into this sketchbook tour. I just graduated from SCAD this June, and I have finally finished my SCAD illustration major sketchbooks. So the first section up is digital illustration, which I took fall of my sophomore year. Our first assignment was to create a spot illustration for an article, and so I chose a CNN article titled "Paul Hogan Says He's Great as Crocodile Dundee, but Not as a Husband." And then we have some color comps and the final piece. Our second assignment was to make a pattern. So I created these cute circus animals, which I do not condone, but I do think that they are super cute. Our next assignment was to create a character and then put that character in an environment. And so I decided to make a fisherman, and so these are all of my silhouettes that I did. Here is the final design for the fisherman. So now we have our next class, which is animated illustration. Most of this section is going to be notes, but this first page has the simple storyboard for a self-portrait GIF. So here is that. And then, like I said, we're just going to have a lot of notes in this section, but then our second project was to use type in a fun way, and so I did this yawn. So our third project was to create an environment and, set up a scene, and so I did this little boy who's made a complete mess of his kitchen baking cookies. And then assignment 4, the final assignment, we got to do whatever we wanted. And so I created this nighttime scene, and I was going to have this monster creature thing come out from the bushes and walk across the road. But I ran out of time to be able to do that, so it's just the car driving down the street, which is still pretty cool and I really like it. But at some point it would be cool to add the monster. And then here are some in-class exercises. Next up, we have creative concepting for world building. So on this first page, we have a sketch for the pre-quarter assignment, which was to make an environment. And then our professor gave us a list of stories that we could choose from to base our story off of. I chose Alice in Wonderland, and initially I wrote way too much. And then on the second page here, I have the beginnings of the sketch of my world map. So first up we have props, and this was actually not the first assignment. I just skipped a page in my sketchbook, and so I went back to it. So props were for the second assignment. And the first assignment was to design 5 characters, and so these characters could be people or creatures or aliens or whatever you wanted them to be. So finally, here are the rest of the props, and that includes some buildings and transportation. And then we have some environment thumbnails. So on the top we have the house of the old man wizard character. And then here is the interior of Travel Tower. So assignment 5 was to do a keyframe illustration. So this was a key point in the story, and I decided to show the mayor and Carmen in the mayor's box seat at the arena. And then we have more of me writing, trying to shorten the story and just figure it out a little more. Alrighty, now imaginative illustration, character refinement. So a lot of this section is notes as well. For our first assignment, we had to pick a story and then change up the genre. So we got to choose if it was sci-fi, steampunk, or utopian, and I chose steampunk. So this assignment was to create a horror image, and I wanted to play around with lake monsters. Our next assignment was to create a character and design a poster to encourage and get people excited about reading. I did my poster on the Reading to Dogs programs, which builds self-confidence and public speaking skills without fear of judgment. Lastly, at the beginning of the quarter for our pre-quarter assignment, we designed a character based on ourselves, and then we did class exercises throughout the whole quarter with that character. And then our final assignment was to take that character and turn it into an actual story. So you design a sidekick, and I made mine a chicken, and then the antagonist, which is this big money fat cat guy. Alright, so conceptual illustration. This was a sequential arts class and not an illustration class. This was for the concept art minor that I got. So this section is really short, and it is basically only notes. I actually messed up and put a section of this somewhere else in the book, which I'll explain in a minute. Here is a collection of some of the art pieces that I did do for this class. I did all of my sketches for these projects on my iPad, so not in my sketchbook to share with you, but here they are up on the screen. Alright, and now we have animated digital asset development. So just like the last section, this one is really short. It does have some drawings in it, but it does not have much. So this first page is me trying to figure out prop ideas for an assignment where we just had to design props. They are for a couple of kid frogs who like to hunt for cryptids. Our final project was to take a theme like pirates and do something different with it. So I made my pirates rats and also French Rococo. Here is some other stuff from this class that wasn't in my sketchbook. And then lastly, this is my Pro Portfolio illustration class. So this one also, I hardly did anything in. At this point, I'm doing a lot of my sketching and stuff on my iPad. So this is just a list of stuff that I wanted to fix on my indoor cat boards, which I did. You'll see those further back in the sketchbook. Alrighty, so what I would do in this sketchbook is if I was in two classes that I needed a sketchbook for at the same time, I wanted to keep my stuff separate, and so I would start sketching at the back of the sketchbook. So then I could use the same book for everything and not worry about mixing things up. Sequential art class for my storyboarding minor. This was character design and storyboard for animation. We did a lot of in-class exercises with sketching caricature type studies. So our first assignment was to design ourselves as a character, and it had to be deadline with no color. Some more class exercises where we're talking about character design and shape, as well as going with or against stereotypes. Our second assignment was to take a TV show that was live action and turn them into cartoon characters. So I chose Wet Hot American Summer, The First Day of Camp, which is on Netflix, and I did designs of Coop, Andy, Beth, and Mitch. So here's some more class exercises where he's showing us some photos and then we are doing studies of them. Here are my notes on the third assignment, which we took Star Wars, and we had to take 4 characters of our choosing and then redesign them in a different location and time frame. So our class did Kerala martial artists from India in the 19th century. I decided to keep it a bit more realistic and make Yoda and Chewbacca humans. This is for another class exercise where everyone designed an astronaut and a spaceship, and then we picked the best one, and we split up into groups as a class, and the professor gave out sections of a story, and then each group had to create storyboards for different sections of the story. So in it, an astronaut goes into space, and he flies around for a while, he goes to the moon, he comes back, but then when he lands back on Earth, he discovers that he's not on Earth, he's on an alien planet. And so I actually wound up doing the very last part of the story. Another class exercise that he would do would be take photos of people and then warp them in Photoshop and then have us draw the warped pictures. And then our last assignment was to design Lydia and Beetlejuice from the movie Beetlejuice, and we took their character designs and we designed the roof, and we took the Broadway version song where Lydia and Beetlejuice are singing up on the rooftop, and we created a storyboard to go along with that song. More class exercises where the professor's taking photos of people and warping them for us to draw. And then this last one he used as an opportunity to talk about racial stereotypes in caricatures and character designs, and we talked about when, how, and if it can be used appropriately. So another class exercise, you can kind of read it down there. He took photos of objects and then he mirrored them and warped them in Photoshop. And then we had to take those photos of random warped objects and turn them into something. Here's another assignment that wasn't in my sketchbook. All right, so another sequential storyboarding class, advanced storyboarding with the same professor that I had for the previous class. So the first assignment was to take a scene from a movie and create an overhead diagram of the scene. And the next assignment was to reverse engineer boards. So we picked a movie and we did 12 shots. So each time the camera changed, we paused the show and drew the frame. And this was to see how people in the industry are using value and character blocking and lighting. For our next assignment, our professor assigned each student a different product, and then we had to create a storyboard for a commercial. And then our professor gave us the audio for the Secrets of Isis TV show, transformation. It's a superhero show, basically. So we had to do like a magical girl outfit transformation.
Oh, mighty Isis.
Here are my sketches for another in-class exercise in which our professor gave us a single screenshot from M is for murder, and then we had to take the information from that one shot and make a 7-board story out of it. Our final assignment was to design 2 Star Wars characters and put them against each other in a battle. So here are all of my sketches for the boards for this fight sequence. Whoops, did I say that was my last assignment? I didn't mean that. This is the last assignment. A car chase sequence. Or not a car. In my case, I used electric scooters. So I came up with this fun story about a guy who just really needs some diarrhea medicine. Animation. Here we are. Core principles of animated storytelling and concept development. This was also for the concept art minor. So we wrote a short story, and then the first assignment was to make a movie poster. After the movie poster, we designed the 2 main characters, and then we designed the setting, but I did not do any of that in my sketchbook, so here are the images for that. And then these are all of my sketches for the final story. If you'd like to see the finished boards for Indoor Cat, I'd love for you to go check them out. They are the last video I posted on my channel, but I will also put the link in the description. And now here we are back to sequential art conceptual illustration. So this is the class that I said earlier was in a different section, and it is because I just messed up and forgot that I started it in one section and then I started it again in another one. So that is the end of this sketchbook. There are still a lot of pages in the middle of this, so I am still going to continue filling it up, but seeing as it is the end of the SCAD portion, I wanted to go ahead and share it with everyone. So that's that. If you want to check out more of my stuff, my website and Instagram are down in the description. Thanks for watching!